Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole McCallister, and I'm one of the social workers here at Ironwood Cancer and Research Centers. Thank you for joining me today for our Lunch and Learn series. Today's topic is cool caps. So what is a cool cap? It's got many different names. You'll hear them called cool cap, cold cap, or cooling caps. But basically, they are scalp cooling systems that are very tightly fitted, almost resembling a helmet, that are filled with gel or some form of liquid coolant. And these products are kept very, very cold, and we wear them before, during, and after chemotherapy regimens in order to prevent hair loss. These products have grown and improved over the years, but there is no guarantee that they'll work 100%. We're going to go through what the research says about their effectiveness, and it can even be a matter of what type of chemotherapy are you getting on whether or not it'll work more effectively. So we're going to go through all of that. We're going to talk about the pros, the cons, and again, we're going to try to get all your questions answered, but what we don't want you to do is make a decision solely off this video. We want you to talk to your doctors and your nurses about whether or not a cool cap is a right choice for you. How do they work? Well, hair loss happens because chemotherapy, when administered, flows through your blood, and it targets rapidly dividing cells. Cancer cells are very rapidly dividing, and so that's a signal that says, here, chemotherapy, come get me, come kill me. But unfortunately, it also goes after some healthy cells. And one of the other healthy cells in our body that are very rapidly growing are hair follicles. And so the cooling caps work by reducing blood flow in the vessels and hopefully reducing the amount of chemotherapy that are exposed to those hair follicles. And so there's a less likely that the hair will fall out. There are two brands of cooling caps in the United States that are FDA approved. That's DignaCap and Paxman. Unfortunately, DignaCap is not available in Arizona yet. Paxman is only available at certain facilities that have a contract because they have a completely different setup than the one you saw here, where it's just a helmet style product that you wear. Paxman is actually hooked to a big machine, and there's kind of cooling vents that are attached. And so only certain facilities have those, and they're not currently available at Ironwood. However, there's tons of good options for cooling caps, and a lot of big medical facilities, doctors kind of support these products. They just don't carry that label. So we're going to talk about them. The top 5 companies that I would say people use for cooling caps are the following: Penguin, Chemo Cold Caps, Arctic Cold Caps, Warrior Caps, and Wish Caps. For all their current information, pricing, and how they work, how fast they can be shipped to you, you need to reach out to those companies directly. I know, for example, a patient that I was helping recently was using the Penguin Cold Caps, and they overnighted her products to her. And so she contacted them within 48 hours of starting treatment and had the products on hand ready to go and was able to use them. So I can't guarantee that all of those brands are able to do that. So you need to kind of look into that as soon as you decide with your doctor that a cooling cap is something you want to pursue. During each infusion, you wear the caps or the scalp cooling system hat for 30 to 50 minutes before the infusion, during the infusion, as well as a period of time after the infusion. Some caps need to be worn up to 4 hours after your treatment is complete. So if you think 30 to 50 minutes beforehand, the length of your treatment, plus up to 4 hours after, you're looking at a very long day wearing these caps. The last person that I spoke with that was using these products, her first treatment was going to be 7 hours. So he's looking at 7 hours of treatment wearing this, and then about an hour before and a couple of hours after. So very, very long time. The caps have to be kept very cold They have to maintain a certain temperature, otherwise they're not effective. The average time that you have to switch these out is about 45 minutes. So they are required to be kept in a cooler on dry ice. You have to use these caps if you want them to be successful for every single treatment. You can't even have one chemotherapy infusion and then start using the cool caps, because you're going to lose your hair. It has to be used from day one and through every single treatment the whole time perfectly in order to get the best results. And the best results with these is that you don't lose your hair. The effectiveness of these cooling products for preserving your hair depends on the type of chemotherapy regimen that is being used with you. Different cancers, different types of cancers require different treatments. And so you need to find out the name of your chemotherapy treatment that you'll be receiving from your doctor. The studies and the research shows that scalp cooling is much more effective for taxane chemotherapy regimens versus the anthracycline chemotherapy regimens. Big words, I know, trust me. I had to practice saying them before I came on this video with you today. But on the left are a couple examples of anthracycline chemotherapies that are typically used. The first one, doxorubicin, is one that I see quite often in our infusion rooms. The others are popular. Adriamycin or doxorubicin might be also known as the Red Devil, is what it's called, or you'll hear the nurses talking about how this one isn't coming through an infusion through a bag, but it's coming from a nurse that's sitting chairside. And the reason they call it the Red Devil is just because it's bright red and it's a very powerful chemotherapy. So the ones on the left, these are the ones that are very resistant to cooling caps. They usually only have about a 20% success rate, that even if everything's done perfectly, there's only about a 20% chance you won't lose your hair. So that's something you might want to consider when you go through how much work they are, all the preparation that goes through wearing these caps, and the cost. Is it worth it to try to get a 20% chance that you won't lose your hair? And even if they're working, there's a good chance that with those chemotherapies on the left, you're still going to lose quite a bit of hair, just because they are, those caps are resistant to those types of chemotherapies. On the right, Taxol, Taxotere, Abraxane, you're going to see these names very, very often. They still will cause hair loss in a patient, but with cooling caps, there's a much more effective. In fact, the rate of effectiveness goes from 20% from the chemos on the left to anywhere between 50 to 60% on the right. So you do everything correctly and you've got a really good chance that you're not going to lose your hair. Potential side effects from using the cooling caps. They include pain from the intense cold, an overall feeling of cold. So you'll see some patients who are wearing them in the infusion rooms dressed in thick blankets and mittens and gloves, because it is going to cause you to be cold. And if you're sitting there for hours with these on, you might have to bundle up even in our warm Arizona summer. Some people say they can feel a little claustrophobic because they're strapped onto their head and they're on so long that they cause that feeling. You might get anxiety from that. You might also experience migraines or just an overall discomfort from the fit of the hats. They have to be worn very tightly. Again, the purpose of these cooling caps is to numb the follicles and stop or slow down the blood flow through the follicles so that the chemotherapy doesn't reach those follicles and cause the hair loss. So I've worn one before to kind of see what it felt like. And I've also had patients tell me it feels like a brain freeze, but one that doesn't stop after like 30 seconds. It goes for a little bit. So, talk to the companies when you call to inquire about what do their patients say about wearing them and how does it feel? Is there anything you can do to kind of prevent migraines or make the experience more enjoyable? Talk to your doctor about managing the side effects and just use them safely in conjunction with your treatment. So here's the research that's been done, and this was conducted at the beginning of the year, kind of updated our information that we share with patients. So it said in a randomized clinical trial of 236 patients, and 184 were using 4 cycles of chemotherapy. 50% of the women who used the devices kept their hair. So it was about a 50-50 chance that those who used the products, those were doing everything, they were getting chemotherapy for breast cancer, they were able to keep their hair. The other 50% did lose their hair either completely, or it was more of like an aggressive hair thinning. So it's something to consider. And again, talk to your family, talk to your doctor. As I said on that screen where we talked about the different types of chemotherapy, the adriamycin and the doxorubicin, it goes down to about a 20% effective rate. And that's if everything is done perfectly. You wear it before, you wear it during, you wear it after, you keep them at the right temperatures, and you wear them for each cycle of the treatment. People who use these scalp cooling systems are encouraged to baby their hair during treatment. So no blow drying, no using hot rollers, irons, any kind of heat product to your hair. You want to gently take care of your hair through this process. Maybe only shampooing your hair once or twice a week, using cool water instead of hot water or warm water on your hair, and not coloring your hair for at least 3 months after chemotherapy is done. Even maybe longer. That's something I would definitely talk to your doctors about what is safe for you to do. You've been getting all these chemicals through your body during chemotherapy, and so you want to make sure that you're not adding hair coloring, which is absorbed through the follicles, which is getting into your body. So you need to make sure that it's safe for you to do. Also using gentle combs and brushing, like the wide tooth combs or the baby soft bristle combs. Think of this little guy on the right here, and how would you treat his hair? You know, you'd be very gentle. You'd be using those soft bristle brushes. You wouldn't be using shampoo. You wouldn't be using hair products, any of that stuff every day. You'd be taking very good care, very gentle care. And that's what you're going to do throughout treatment if you're using these cooling caps to also get the best results. They are expensive. So the cost of the products varies. And again, you're going to need to reach out to the companies directly. Their prices change like the stock market. But the average cost for renting these caps plus having the dry ice for storage is roughly $425 a month. It can go up, it can go down a little bit, but these are not something that are covered by insurance. So this will be an out-of-pocket cost for you in order to try to prevent hair loss. If this is too much for you, there are 2 organizations that have some financial assistance that you can apply for. One is the Rapunzel Project, and also the Hair to Stay Foundation offers grants that help pay for the cost of cooling caps. You can speak to the companies directly to see if they have payment plans or anything else to help you afford these products. But one of the surprising major costs is the dry ice. And there are some shops in town that will give you a discount if you show your cancer patient getting treatment and you need the dry ice. They're not every place, but it never hurts to ask to see if there's a discount for you. But remember, you have to store the caps on dry ice to get them to that perfect temperature. And then you have to have them in a cooler with you at the office during treatment so you can change those out. Just a couple final thoughts. If this is something that you decide and you've talked to your doctor and you agree that you're willing to do the work and pay the cost to get these caps in order to keep your lovely hair, then great. But please talk to your nurses when you're scheduling your treatment so that they can ensure that you have space for your cooler and your caps. Some people also require assistance during this process. They get sleepy from some of the meds that we give them during treatment. And so we need to make sure someone's there to check on you, to make sure that your caps are staying the perfect temperatures and that you change them timely. And just kind of maneuvering with your IV and everything else, you might need a little help with that. And so you'll have to talk to the nurses about whether or not there's the ability to have a guest join you. Our nurses, unfortunately, are not able to assist with the cool cap, so it is your responsibility as a patient. I hope this cleared up Just some basic information about these cooling caps. Again, they're a great tool to use if you really want to make an effort to avoid losing your hair. And also just remember that not all chemotherapies cause hair loss, so it's really important to talk to your doctor about whether the treatment regimen you'll be receiving is one that can lead to hair loss. And these can be used by males and females, so it's not specific to either or type of cancer. They're available to all. Just reach out to those companies. If you need additional information or you want the information contained within this PowerPoint or this presentation in an email, just let us know. Reach out to Supportive Care Services. Our social workers have access to the information and can share it with you over email. Or you can watch this video and write down the information. I'm going to go back to the screen where the companies are listed. Again, there's those 5 companies. There's probably a bunch more out there, but these are 5 companies that patients at Ironwood have used and talked to us about and enjoyed kind of the customer service they received. They also have very good ratings online. So we would suggest these as a good starting point for you after you've spoken with your doctor to kind of look into cost, how long is it going to take to get to me, what kind of side effects do the people using them report. Just make sure you write down all your questions before you even pick up the phone to dial, because you want to make sure you go into this process with all your questions answered and all the information so you can make the best decision for you and your body. And please join us for all of our other Lunch and Learn talks. Check out our YouTube page and all of our video content in our digital library. Take care. Bye-bye.